that was a hell of a game, and I have to be perfectly honest. I was very hopeful that we would take something away from this, as you can imagine. I always knew that it would be an incredibly difficult challenge, and that certainly played out. We looked flat in the first 10 minutes of each half and paid the price for it. I don't know whether that was the field in the first half. We certainly chased the game an awful lot in that first period, and maybe the opening exchanges of the second half just looked a bit leggy. I did feel as though the 2 goals were a tad soft from our point of view, but nevertheless, the character and the internal fibre that this group have shown on many occasions was there for all to see. And I just don't think too many people come back from a two goal down situation in this stadium in front of this crowd on this field against this team. And we've shown some tremendous character today.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open the floor with Tim Sullivan for Call of the Country.
Hey, Gary, you mentioned that you thought both of the goals were maybe on the softer side from your team. What did you see on each of them that I know obviously Dave kind of had a mistake on the first one. What did you see on each of them that led to those 2 goals for Atlanta happening?
Yeah, we'd looked at the the areas that might cause us a few problems in trying to win the ball back. They're a team that possessed the ball very, very well. We were comfortable if they kept the ball in front of us, but certainly didn't want them to penetrate too often. Local derby, we wanted it to be a real blood and thunder affair if we could make it that, and try and upset them a little bit as well, and not maintain any rhythm. But Robinson's distribution in the first half was very good. It caused us a lot of problems, and the goal came from there. My concern was that I felt as though we might have dropped slightly quicker. It was a little bit too easy for the ball to be dropped in behind our back line. A pretty routine run from outside to in, and before you know it, it's gone through Dave's legs, and it's caused Joe a serious problem. And I just know that the guys are in a better place normally than that. The ball did kick up; it didn't skip on, which is what it does on turf, and maybe there were a few difficulties there trying to read the bounce. And the second goal wasn't dissimilar. I thought we'd done enough to force Bello wide. It wasn't the greatest cross in the world. And, the guys normally do a fabulous job of protecting that near post. And it was just a little bit too easy for their player to nick in at the near post and get a flick on it. And, given the type of game it was, I felt it was, maybe a bridge too far for us at that point.
Next, we'll go with Drake Hills from the Tennessean.
Gary, especially on the second goal for Hani, it just seemed as if Atlanta had lost him. Obviously, the ball had bounced off of Baji, and it just seemed like they didn't know that he was there. From your perspective, how did you think, both on that goal and his first goal, how he was able to make something happen almost out of nothing?
Well, at 2-0, you can imagine we were trying to think on the line of how to try and just get a bit more energy and a bit more of a focal point up front. Hany had looked bright. He'd been creative. He'd been a real nice piece of the puzzle for us, if you like. And, moving him into one of those wider areas, but playing more narrow to try and link up with the forwards was something that I certainly know he can achieve, and he's more than capable of playing there. He's done that before. And it just gave us a different dimension, a different dynamic. And the front two, for the 25, 30 minutes that they were out there, the pair of them, including Yonder, of course, it gave it a real good go. And, I couldn't have asked for any more from any of the guys in terms of their efforts and trying to work down the side of their defensive group. They have one or two, slightly different ideas about their defending, and it ends up being a little bit man for man at times, and it leaves big gaps. And, you've still got to work the ball and find areas to take advantage of that. And as the game wore on, I just thought that our guys, especially the end of the first half, And of course, once we got that first goal, I just couldn't see how we weren't going to level it up. You know, we were really in the ascendancy. They're seeing momentum had shifted massively. You know, there was some mumblings in the crowd, and suddenly 50,000 people were groaning rather than cheering. And, you know, that is the difference. But Hany's the one that's got to put it in the back of the net. And today he's been our hero.
We'll do a follow-up with Drake Hills, then we'll go to Ben Wright, then we will conclude Gary's and bring in Hany Mukhtar. Drake, all you.
Yeah, thanks. Gary, I'm curious to know about your assessment of how Jake Mulroney and Lopez were. It seemed as if they were pinning Lovitz and Alistair a lot. I know early in the week we were talking about how the way they play, you were hoping to get Alistair and Dan a little bit further up the field to create some opportunities for Nashville. Do you think that was the case, or do you think that due to Mulroney and how Lopez were playing that wasn't necessarily possible today?
Well, it's not just Mulroney and Lopez. You know, you've got two fullbacks on their team that play almost like wingers because of the controlled possession that they have. And they possess the ball very, very well. They've got good distributors of the ball. But most importantly, they've got guys that can handle the ball in tight areas, and they get away from opponents, and they can play positive passes. And when Bello kept getting high up the field, Mulroney kept coming inside Alistair. Now Alistair's got a choice. You know, he's getting overloaded out wide. Robinson's hitting good crossfield balls. And we knew it could be a problem if we couldn't get enough pressure on the ball. And, you know, a few little tweaks at half time, a couple of things that we were able to shift around. And that's why I was disappointed with the second goal, because we actually started reasonably brightly. You know, we got a shot off within 30 seconds of the half commencing. And I really felt as though the guys had maybe, you know, got the bit between the teeth and it might just move our way. So, you know, for them to score the second so quickly in that second half was a body blow for certainly us on the line. And it must have been for the players. And to that degree, you know, we have to give that group of players in the locker room out there an incredible amount of credit. You know, they've stuck in the game. They've managed to, you know, work their way through some really difficult periods. And when the opportunity came around, we've somehow, some way, we've hit the back of the net twice. And, you know, I've said before, you sometimes need an hero to step forward, and today it was Hany.
And we'll conclude with Ben Wright of Broadway Sports.
Yeah, Gary, I mean, you touched on this just a second ago with Drake, but I'm kind of wondering about you personally, what your emotions were like on the sideline. Obviously, you had a better end to the first half, but then coming out of the break, conceding pretty quickly. I'm sure that was deflating. And then on the flip side, when you see Hany scored 2 in 3 minutes, just what's going through your mind there?
Well, I mean, while I'm on the line, it's one of frustration and disappointment, of course. I just felt as though, you know, they'd been able to affect their plan slightly better than us with the ball. I never ever feel that we won't find a way at some point to make life difficult and maybe, you know, get that goal that really turns the mentality, the belief and the momentum our way a little bit. But, you know, it's tough to see where 2 goals were going to come from up until the point that Hany scored. And you keep hoping and you're trying to urge the players on. I thought the guys that came on not only added some energy and injected a little bit of an incisive look about the group, but when you look at Dominic Badgie, he turns his ankle badly, the character that he's shown to hobble that half out was really, really important to us. You know, we needed that extra body out there. It enabled me to do 1 or 2 other things to see the game out. But that is what rivalry games dish up. You know, you often walk into a match thinking, okay, this could well be the path we travel and the journey we take. And by the end of it, it looks nothing like the one you had in your mind. And that's certainly how the day unfolded.
Yeah, Hany, good afternoon and congrats on the hard work in those 2 goals. First and foremost, and how did you feel about the first one and the fact that you had very little space to get behind Brooks and you used your left foot to get it past the goal? What did you feel in that space at that time?
Yeah, it was a pretty similar goal to my goal against Montreal. I need to get a good touch that I come in front of the opponent, and then just long corner, hit the target from there, and I'm happy to help the team.
Next, we'll go to Claudio Villalobos. Claudio.
Hany, is this one of those games that you guys go through in your lifetime as players that you feel like more like a victory instead of a tie, coming back from a deficit of 2 goals in a very difficult situation against a very good team?
I mean, we all know it's a very tough place to be, but we were a lot under pressure, and I think we go out of the game, and it's more. We won a point, then lost 2 points. We need to keep the head up, and we are still unbeaten. It's a great run.
Do we have any more questions for Hani Mukhtar? We'll go back to Drake Hills from the Tennessee.
Yeah, Hani, I'm curious. I know that you are very much team oriented, and you see the hard work as the team as the main focus. But considering your talent and obviously your role for the team, do you feel like this was expected for you? This is what your job is, to help the team get out of situations like this?
Yes, I mean, I'm here obviously to help the team, and that's my job. I'm here to really help the team, and I try to do my best. I had some issues with my hamstring. Was hard to come back, but now I'm back, and I'm happy, and I will continue to work hard. We have big goals in our club, so we need to work hard.
We will wrap up with 2 final questions. First, we'll go with Tim Sullivan, then wrap it up with Ben Wright. Tim, you're on with Hani.
Hani, when you missed a game and then were limited through a few with injury, what was kind of the emotional state that you were going through? And then obviously today to kind of get the payoff when you feel, I guess, closer to 100%, if you do feel close to 100%.
I mean, it's always frustrating for a player to not play and miss a game. But for me, it's really important to stay 100% fit. And I try my best. I do everything I can. That's my job. That's my life. And I will work hard, and I will always believe in myself, even in a bad period. And no career is just always good. So that's part of our job. It looks nice, but there is a lot of hard work behind it.
Last question with Ben Wright of Broadway Sports Media.
Yeah, Hani, I'm just wondering kind of what went through your mind there. I mean, you, obviously 2 goals down late in the game can't be a good feeling, but then what do you feel like when you get the first goal? How are you feeling, and just what went through your mind there?
I mean, we know, we said in the halftime, we are a strong team, we are a good team. So we need to always believe in ourselves, even when we're playing bad, or not playing bad, but if we are behind, then you never have like a good feeling. So we just have to keep the head up and work hard.
We'll start with Tim Sullivan for Club and Country. Tim?
Walker, you guys have been so stout at the back for, the vast majority of every game this year. Does that make it even more frustrating on the chance that there's kind of a fluke play that leads to you guys suddenly giving something up at the back and getting Joe beat?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely take a lot of pride in that, and goals against for sure. We talk about it a lot. But look, if you're going to get scored on, you want it to be an absolute world-class goal. And that's just not the reality from either goal tonight. And I know that we're not going to be happy with the types of goals that we allowed. So it definitely is frustrating, but again, super proud of the group for showing some fight and getting us a point out of here.
Next, we'll go with Drake Hills from the Tennessee. And Drake, you're on with Walker.
Yeah, Walker. Does it come down to communication as far as how to solve or how to take a look at the goals that you guys are giving up, or is there something else that you want to attack with to help you guys fix whatever's going on back there?
I think communication is always a key component, and pretty much any goal. You can always look back and say, is there anything that I could have said or could have been said to prevent that? And then at the other side of it is, is there a reaction? That was it the right decision? You always look back at split-second decisions. Should I go for this ball? Should I let it hit the ground? Should I try and toe poke it out? Should I slide? Like, there's all these decisions that come through all of our minds who are involved in the play. And those are the decisions that kind of got you this level, and you trust in those. And there are going to be games where you'll probably look back and say, man, yeah, I probably could have done something different. But, you know, I think, again, you know, we still believe in this team, still believe in the defensive prowess, and still believe that we could go out there and keep guys out of the net. But offense stepped it up big time. Team showed a lot of, like I said, fight to get back in this one, and really happy to keep this unbeaten streak going.
Next, we'll go with Claudio Villalobos. Claudio?
Walker, besides the frustration of those two goals that you already described your feelings about against, tell us about what you're feeling about playing against a player like Joseph Martinez, with his skills and strong possession of ball and stuff. And also, I'd like for you to describe, if it's possible, please, your feeling after you see Hany score the tying goal.
Yeah. Joseph's a great player. I've gotten to know him a little bit over the years, the All-Star game, and as a person, he's an unbelievable person. And that was, to me, was the not a surprise, but just a great thing from meeting him, getting to know him. And so when he tore his ACL last year and in the opener, and you know, it was very sad for everyone because he is such a high level player, and you always want to compete with guys when they're healthy and go toe to toe. And I know he's still working through things, getting back fully fit, fully sharp. But I know he gives them a boost. He's a big time player, gives them a boost when he's on the field. And so it's always fun to play against him. As for the goals, you know, Hany, amazing for him to come back into the lineup this week and in a game where he probably had to cover a lot more ground defensively than usual, or if we were playing at home, to stay focused for 90 minutes and leave everything he had on the field and to walk away with a goal was phenomenal from him. And really all the subs that came on, I thought did a really, really great job. And that's been a strong theme for us this season, is when guys are getting called from the bench, that they're coming on and they're producing. And they're also just giving us a lot of heart, a lot of fight. You know, CJ was battling up there. Dom battled, even came back in, hurt, just giving everything he had to try and see the game out. Luke has done a great job, particularly these last two games. LaGrassa, again, making things happen. So all those guys contributing, which is good to see. And again, happy for Hany to get back on the field and also get back on the score sheet.
Awesome.